Welcome to Prana Talk TV. This is Elitom El-amin.
And Shana Dean.
Enjoy the show.
Welcome everybody and welcome Elitom. How are you today?
Oh man, I'm doing wonderful. And how about yourself?
Oh, I'm so good. I'm actually in a little birdhouse in the tops of the redwood trees right now, and you might see birds and squirrels running behind me as we talk today.
Well, I see that beautiful view behind you. It's daytime there, and I'm here in India, so it's nighttime.
Right.
So we're like playing volleyball with the sun.
I know. So you get a dose of sunshine right now.
Oh man. So what's on your mind today? I heard you say earlier about, or what people have been talking about is clothing.
Yes, we have so many things to talk about. So you want to talk about clothing, our new exciting upcoming retreat.
Oh yeah.
Fasting,
Now that's
manifesting, all of that. So many things.
Now that's the one right there, the retreats we got going on, and people do want to know more about those, on what it's going to do for them, how it's going to benefit them, and that does mean a lot. If you're going to invest in something, what am I going to get back out of it, what it's about? And this is very important that we talk about that, on how a retreat can guide you on the path. Because of course you could do these things by yourself, but what it's like is, that's, to tell the truth, to really master something on a skill by yourself, you got anomalies, and I'm one of them on that level, and but to have somebody guide you and motivate you along the way is needed, especially when you're dealing with something, when we talk about a high vibrational lifestyle, because it is tough depending on what your environment is like and the people around you.
Yeah, and that's why these retreats are so nice, because you get to meet with like-minded people and you build a community. But this one retreat that we're doing, it's next weekend or this weekend. It's Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. It's a 4-day retreat, June 12th through the 15th. And we're super excited about it because the theme of this retreat, which is done on Zoom, of course, is fasting and manifesting. So how to meditate, right, how to cultivate your energy so you increase your magnetism, so you bring to you the money that you need, everything that you want. Your life is abundant and full and you don't want for anything. That's the way the breatharian lifestyle is. In case you're wondering, both Elitom and I experience that, and you can too. Everybody can.
And see, that's what a lot of your speakers today are talking about when they talk about manifesting, bringing what you want into your life. They're all saying it, but they're just not bringing the other component on, the changes you need to make with your body. See, a lot of them is telling about the mindset, but see, what we're saying on the breatharian journey, your body is your mind. It's the equipment you're using. It is your thinking. It is your thought process. So of course, when you're on a breatharian journey, the things that you need for your cultivation is going to be magnetized to you 110%. It's above and beyond. And people have to understand that. That's why they say your health is your wealth. They're both connected. This is like, oh man, it's a given.
Yeah, exactly. And what it is you're becoming more in alignment with your higher self. And your higher self is your higher consciousness. And that's the thing that kind of guides you along the way towards your true path and purpose. And when you're really hooked into that, and energy, the way you run your energy is a big part of this. I tell you, when I start doing these meditations where I'm really increasing my energy and running it in certain ways, which I will teach you, we will both teach you during the retreat. Mm-hmm. I get phone calls for business, for clients, for students, coaching, the whole thing. It just starts flowing. So, and I don't do it for that reason. I do it because I love the feeling and it helps me to let go of food and a lot of other attachments. But that's an awesome side effect. And that's our birthright,
Oh yeah.
It's our natural state.
Right. And see, this is what they're saying in science. All physical matter has an electromagnetic field around it. We're using that word just to play on words. Now notice that word electric, and then we got the word magnetism. Boom, boom, boom. Now, when it first started out on the studies of these disciplines, electricity used to have its own study and magnetism used to have its own study. But after a while, they put them both together because they figured out the higher the electricity, the higher the magnetism. And the higher the magnetism, the higher the electricity, they one and the same. But it's still a play on words that people don't understand, even though it's one field. See, this is where it gets down to the electron. So when we're teaching about meditation and stuff and running your energy, your body's a good conductor of energy. See, everything conducts this electron, but some things make a better conductor than others. And our bodies is carbon-based. This is what we're dealing with. Carbon, like you're a diamond, what? Copper. Those are good conductors of electricity, the electron. And our bodies being one of those, just like coal. Now, what we're saying is on the breatharian journey, you want the electron to go through the body more smoothly, this electricity. So on one level, when you get deeper, because remember we said this is a holistic lifestyle, you start breaking down the words more so it can start becoming one. Now listen at this. There really isn't no magnetism. Now wait a minute, Elitom, what are you talking about? It's all dealing with the flow of the electron on how smooth it's coming. Magnetism we're using is the acceleration of the electron. When you deal with the breatharian and you're transforming yourself, the electron is speeding itself up. It's going faster. So that's the word that we're using for magnetism. Things start coming to you faster because it accelerated. It's going faster. In other words, you're like thawed light or you're like thawed ice. Oh man, let me try to make sense of this.
Well,
you're thawing out, so things are going faster.
Oh, I'm sorry, what was that?
You're thawing out, so things are going faster. So that's what we mean that you magnetize things faster to you because you're living a life where things seem like it's speeding itself up. Before it was going slower. So it's just like water, H2O. Water, the liquid form, ice, and steam, it's all water, it's all H2O. It's just that the behavior of the atoms speeded themselves up to make it seem different. So it's the same way on the breatharian journey when you start coming into this practice. You're speeding up the electricity within your system, sort of like Yogananda said, you got electricity going in your spinal cord. So if the electron is passing through the body faster, your whole reality is going faster. Oh man, that was a lot.
And the cleaner you are on the inside, the easier all of this flows. And that's where the fasting comes into place. And this is exactly why we're focusing on fasting during the retreat. Fasting and manifesting and running your energy. Because you become a stronger conduit for this energy, this electricity in your body, the cleaner you are. So getting off the heavy foods, maybe moving to raw food diet, doing juices or a water fast, best. If you want diamond body, diamond mind, pure light mind.
Right. Everything got speeded up. So therefore, if the organs got the energy it needs a lot quicker, you don't need to go to the denser foods. See, when you're slow, everything is dense, and even the things you cater to is dense. But when everything speeds itself up, that's why about on the third or fourth day of fasting, people usually say across the board that your hunger and thirst decreases because you already got nourished. The organs is already full. Oh, man.
And the foods hold it does slow everything down. So it slows down the energy, but it also holds lower vibrational energy and emotions in your body. Did you know?
Yeah.
I talked a little bit about this in our last video, but when you have a lot of food, and if you've had a lot of trauma in your life, right? And who hasn't, right? Something in our childhood or somewhere has caused us a lot of grief and pain. We store that in different parts of the body. Well, the food anchors it in. I was talking to one of my clients just yesterday, actually, and she said that when she started, she had a hard time losing weight for a long time. When she started working through some of the emotional stuff and the energy and the emotion left, guess what? She would lose 5 pounds. She would
Right.
lose a chunk of weight, right? And the same thing goes on the flip side. As you start losing weight, some of the emotions kind of lift up. Your body begins to emotionally and energetically get lighter.
Absolutely.
So it goes hand in hand. The food, the extra fat on the body, you know, all anchors in. Did you know that fat stores toxins?
Right.
That's where the toxins in the body are stored. That's why you never, if you're eating meat, you never want to eat the fat on the meat, because all the environmental toxins are stored right there. So in our body, any fat you have toxins and emotional toxins as well.
Absolutely. So now this goes back to, see, this is why all of this goes together. We're talking about fasting. We're talking about manifesting. And then that's why they use this word enlightenment. This is the spiritual path. Why is that? Because enlightenment, the root word is light. There's two things that comes along with it. First, we think of a light as something getting brighter. Then we're thinking about something lightening up. So you are actually going to an enlightenment. You're lightening yourself up. Literally. Things start moving. Things start going faster. Things start coming to you. Emotions could go through you a lot faster. But when you're dense, it holds longer. And it's harder to get out of it. See, to make it plain today and make it practical, when I started my breatharian path, when people tell me, what, you know, how did it start? And I go back to when I was on a standard American diet and I was weighing 190 pounds. But when I went from 190 pounds to 170 pounds, my life changed from night and day. From losing 20 pounds, that means I reached a level of enlightenment. I had better thinking, better movement in my body, better emotional response. And last but not least, I was living a life materialistically where the things I needed was there quicker. It all went together. This is just what we're talking about.
It's so exciting. It really is. And you know, I've learned a lot being in this little tree house where I am right now. I'm actually kind of house sitting for a friend of mine who lives in the forest here. She's out of town. And one of my jobs here is to feed all the critters. So she has a lot of wildlife that approaches for the nibbles that she leaves out. So we've got squirrels and deer and crow and all different kinds of birds. And you're going to see some of the blue jays back here. But, you know, I supposed to leave out tortillas for the deer and peanuts for the crows and bird seed for the bird, right? All of this. And what I have found just sitting here in this space, meditating and just watching, what that does when you feed wildlife, when you feed yourself, it creates a frenzy because I'm not able to connect energetically or spiritually with any of the wild animals that come here for food. And usually when you meet a wild animal in nature, you can make a connection. You can really hold space with that animal. There is something there. You know, there's a business, but there's a connection. These animals here are so focused on food, even though it's completely provided for them. I would say there's food out here 12 hours a day, right? From the morning I wake up to and until I go to bed, I make sure there's food out for everybody. They have an abundance of food. It's totally at their access. They're not going hungry. And yet they are worked up into a fury over this. You know, they're kind of a little bit on the plump side. They're huge aggression. They're fighting with each other. And in 12 hours, these same animals are in this state where they seem agitated, they're angry. The squirrel's like pounding his fist on the railing, asking for more food, looking right at me. You know, it's so funny. And I just crack.
Wow.
Like, wow. So this excess food that's available to them all the time is creating anger, irritation, aggression, this behavior that just seems discontent.
Wow.
Does that sound familiar? Does that sound a little bit like our first world country here? I mean, obviously,
absolutely,
everybody acts like that, but and the obesity, right? I mean, the animals are larger than they should be. And I mean, this right here just shows you what is happening just on a real base primal level when you have all this food at your Think about that.
At your access, and you're feeding something that cannot be avoided, that cannot be filled, and it causes all that agitation, irritation, and you got it all around you, like you're saying. But in their mind, you see it in the animals, it's also happening with the human animal.
Yes, yes, on a huge scale, you know?
Huge scale.
I mean, this describes the state right now that the
Yeah.
countries, I should say, are in.
And that's why it goes back to when you outgrow hunger, peace comes in.
Right, right. Peace and connectivity, like the animals in the wild who are truly feeding themselves in a wild, natural way, they will look at you and hold space with you, or they'll, you know, they're just waiting.
Right.
Just in a space.
Yeah.
It's almost like they're meditating, you know? You know what I'm saying?
Right. Absolutely. Trust in the universe. They're all right. It'll come when it's there, but when it's overabundant like that, oh man, you seen it right. And nature was just teaching you something.
Yeah.
For you to get that download and see it.
It's happening right here, right now. They're not right now, but trust me, when that squirrel comes, you'll see, he'll come.
Oh my gosh. That is really something.
Yeah, it's something.
Wow. And all that other stuff takes place. Oh my gosh.
Right.
And this is what we're talking about with the human being. We want to reverse it now, because like when people say, well, what if you starving? Well, you're not starving. We're not talking about everybody else. We're talking about you right now. There's an overabundance of food that's causing all this stuff, all this health problems. Now it's time for us to look at it. And what we're saying on the breatharian journey is put it in its place. You master the food. Don't let it master you. Don't let it take over you, because it's causing so much harm. And when something is causing that much harm, it's time to take a look at it. And especially when it's from your own thought process, over abusing the food, over abusing the energy. And that's what the first world countries is dealing with. Because when you're dealing with preventable diseases, that means it could have been prevented. It did not have to happen. It wasn't a given. It don't even have to be in your reality when we understand this. But it just got abused through ignorance and abused through the body's bringing off this signal or the stimulation, but we're misreading it. Just because you heard a growl coming from the gut didn't mean it wanted more food. That was toxicity moving. But through not understanding what nature is trying to say, now the body is bringing out this other frequency, and we're just keep putting stuff on top of it, and it's causing so much agitation, pain, suffering, and it's all from our own idea.
Exactly. And I'm so glad that you brought up the stomach growling and people thinking that that's what hunger is, because I had a really interesting revelation the other day. I was by a creek and I was sitting on my stone meditating, and I knew there was something the next day I had to go do that required a lot of work and dealing with some people that I didn't particularly care for, right? So the whole situation, when I started thinking of it, caused me some stress. And as soon as I felt that, and I didn't even realize I was feeling the stress or the anxiety, I wasn't really that conscious of it. But what I did realize is all of a sudden I was starving.
Right.
I thought, wait a minute, I haven't been hungry in weeks. Like, why now am I hungry? And I really tuned in. And this is the key for everyone, is tuning in at those moments when you feel hungry and asking why. I tuned into my body and I realized, okay, my stomach is now starting to growl. It hasn't growled in weeks. And at the same time, that triggered a visceral reaction where I started to salivate. So now my stomach's growling and I'm salivating, and I'm now thinking, I'm starving, I need to eat something. But I realized, oh, I'm just stressed and I have anxiety. And this is what I discovered. I discovered that because my whole life, I have been an emotional eater, right? Most people are. You feel an emotion, whether it's stress, happiness, anxiety, whatever, and then you reach for something and you pop it in your mouth, right? Because I've done that my whole life, now when my stomach starts to growl from anxiety, I have trained myself to salivate, Just like
Wow.
Pavlov's dog. Who here knows about Pavlov? So Dr. Pavlov was doing experiments, and he would ring a bell every time he would feed a dog. And he discovered that when he would ring the bell, even when there wasn't food there, the dog would start to salivate because he had trained that response in him. So now we're all like Pavlov's dogs. We all have this response, physical response, that if you're not acutely aware of what's going on in your body, you will just think, oh, I'm hungry now, I'm going to go eat.
Exactly. And the body is a what? Now, I'm glad you brought that up. People have to understand that the body is filled with memory. It has memory. So things that used to what? Get to us in the past, different traumas, different experiences. It took on every experience. And there's some experiences that will come about. For instance, there was Halloween coming up when I was in the States. And some guy, he was doing good on the breatharian journey, but when Halloween came up, his body triggered the pineapple pies his mother used to make, his grandmother. Just from the season, his body remembered that, and he couldn't get the pineapple pie off of his mind. We go through that all the time on the memory that got collected within the body. So that's why there's certain books. I read this book one time where it said, it used the term ascended masters have little or no desires. Now what that mean was that that person on that path had to get to the point where if you know that your body, every experience you have, your body's bringing it on. We're not saying don't have no life experiences no more, but you're being careful on what you're doing on your behavior, because the more you do something, it puts a stamp on you. That's what that word character means. The etymology is you guys got stamped. So when you had a habit, when you kept doing it over and over again, it became very strong on you. You built the character. So every time something comes along that triggers it, your body, because you programmed it, it's a computer. The memory is latching out after it, is bringing it to you. And we got to be careful of that. So to reprogram that, we got to understand that there's certain situations, certain circumstances, certain anxieties just bringing that out of us to what? Make us feel like we're hungry. The Pavlov effect could take place. And it ain't got nothing to do that the body needs it, but it has that memory in it that's going off, and that's what we got to keep in mind. Wow.
Exactly. So how did I overcome that, right? Sitting on that boulder, here I am thinking I'm so hungry, I need a meal, but I didn't want one. Right. I hadn't eaten solid foods for weeks, and I still haven't, right? So just realizing that made a huge difference. So just, oh, wow, this is what's viscerally happening in my body. If I wasn't paying attention, I'd go get something to eat, but I'm paying attention. And what I did was, besides acknowledging it, I just started to breathe lightness into my stomach and into my body, and just went right into my meditating. And then the hunger lifted, like all those sensations just lifted. I connected with nature and all the things that you do. And there's this wonderful new technique that has kind of been kept under wraps. It's a little bit of a secret, and I'm going to teach it in our retreat this weekend, where there's a certain running energy where you can increase your light body and your light mind. Very important. And this is going to help with fasting and also manifesting. So all of this goes hand in hand. It's being highly conscious of your physical body, because if you're not conscious of your physical body, you will not be, or let's say it'll be more challenging to say no to the food, or try to go more on a juicing fast, or change your behavior.
Now you saying the key words here, where you acknowledged and understood why that was taking place. That makes a big difference, because it's sort of like you put a flashlight on your consciousness. You're going through a room, you put a flashlight on it, it's like a bunch of roaches ran.
Yeah,
that's what we're dealing with.
A flashlight on the body, because the body is what's ruling us when we're in that state when we think we're hungry and we're not.
Absolutely. It is that awareness. So that when they say expanding your awareness, is things like that which expands it. And not only, and see, this is where it gets good, and this goes back with manifesting different things that we need and all of this. Your reality that you're creating, your awareness of what you're experiencing, that's coming from inside of you. You'll start coming into that more and more. And then when things start developing on your external, you can start flashing a light on it because it's going back into the body, which is our mind. I mean, it's all one, but you start narrowing it down even more when you start mastering the body like this and becoming aware of what's going on. Wow.
Yes. And I would also love to talk a little bit about habit. So a while back, I was on a day trip, like traveling a road trip with someone. And I love to not eat or drink anything when I travel because it's just so much easier.
Right.
Right.
Oh my gosh.
And so the person I was with was just a regular, eating person, right? Not on the pranic path or anything like that. And I knew he'd had a big breakfast before we left. And like a couple hours into the drive, he said, I'm hungry. And I remember when he said that, I just felt like this shock. I was like, what? I'm like, you just ate. How could you possibly be hungry?
Right.
But this is someone who eats first breakfast, second breakfast, lunch, dinner, dessert, and sometimes snacks. And then there's morning tea and afternoon coffee, right? So it's a continuous flow of like food and beverage, right? So,
right.
But when you're in a car with someone all day and you see what their habits are, it's really surprising, especially when you're not taking anything yourself and you're completely at a state of peace, because when you're not eating or drinking anything, your body is so peaceful and so in balance, and you don't want for anything, and your blood sugars are even, when you start mastering that. Everything just feels really good. So anyway, so then he eats his food, and then an hour later, I need a coffee, and then, I need some trail mix, or I need this. And the whole day long was like that. And then there was stopping for all the bathroom breaks, right?
Oh my gosh.
Because it's in, it's out, it's in and out. And I remember just thinking, wow, this is a trip.
It's really something. That is a trip.
To watch it, because
what you're saying. Oh, go ahead. I go through it all the time.
I'm sure you do, yeah. But
oh my gosh. And then that's why people say, now this is just me. That's why I guess what they say about a breatharian being in a relationship, you can. Nobody's arguing that. However, you got to think about this. If you were the person who's eating like that, that's going to be draining you so much, because you're living this life now with this person who's constantly taking a stop, constantly going here, need to eat again. And you're sitting there like, oh my gosh, we could already be at point A to B by now. I'm just saying.
Yeah, well, it's funny. I didn't mind that so much because I'm patient. I can go with the flow. But what I did find interesting is every hour I heard the statement, I'm hungry.
I'm hungry.
I'm hungry.
Right.
And in my mind, I'm thinking, no, you're not. I mean, you're
not.
If I'm not hungry, you can't possibly be hungry. I mean, your body would be completely fine on one meal a day or less. So you're not hungry. What you're feeling, again, false physical cues.
You're uncomfortable.
Yeah, you're uncomfortable.
They're uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And in their mind, food is solving it.
Right. Well, it's like a drug. It's like
it's a drug.
Is your stomach growling because it's still digesting the last thing you just ate, and you're thinking that's a hunger pain. So you squelch that feeling by eating more, and then you end up just really full all day long, but you don't know it. You don't know that you're carrying around all this food all day long.
Because when you overeat, one of the rules is you're going to wake up hungry the next day. And it's all dealing with that uncomfortable feeling again. You don't want to go through it. So you cover it back up, and you're in this cycle over and over until you're ready to come out of it. Oh my gosh. That's if you come out of it.
Right.
It all depends what level you're at. That's what the average person is going through. That's what we mean about vibration. What vibration are you at? That deals with habits. Their habit of food will show the vibration that they're under.
That's right.
Oh, man.
I will tell you that this person is very thin, and they don't overeat. So the portions are relatively small, but it's continuous all day long.
It's continuous all day long.
They are vegan. So they do have some, good things happening here, but it's continuous. And if you're eating like that and you're only, you know, having one bowel movement a day, guess what? You're storing a lot of food. It's getting impacted in your intestines. Even if you're not eating meat, you're holding on to it. Trust me. So.
Oh man. And it is something, and I'm glad how you observing that now. See, when you get on the breatharian path, it ain't about you judging others, but you start really, you're coming out of it now. You're out of the picture where you're looking in. So, and other people can't see this, but not only you seeing yourself, but you see everybody else's habits. Everything else everybody else is doing. And you still got your own habits. I was just with a friend when we was talking, and we spent some time together for like a couple of weeks, you know, dealing with what I'm staying at. And we had a chance to see each other's habits. And I said, man, I forgot what I was about to do. And they started talking about what I was about to do. Well, maybe you're about to go meditate. Maybe you're about to go for a walk, because that's what I do all the time. And then we start laughing, and they brought up another person's name that we got to know. And they said, well, if they was here, they'll do this right now. They'll do that right now. Everybody got their pattern. So this is why we say the breatharian lifestyle is another pattern that you develop.
That's right.
A whole nother pattern.
Because when we're doing all the eating, we've got two things happening, or probably more than two, but we've got the false physical cue that we're hungry, and then we just simply have the pattern and the habit of doing it. And a lot of times it's out of pleasure, and a lot of times it's because you just think you're hungry, but you're not. But it's a habit. So it's about a habit. Breaking the habit or changing the habit and having a new habit. Like, how's about, I'm going to meditate now for lunch.
That's what you have to do, because we're creatures of habits. We're creatures of habits. Everybody has a pattern. That's what creates your life. You're not dead. You got a body. The body's meant to be used. So even when we talk about spirituality, what threw everybody off, we had this idea in our mind that you just seen somebody up on a mountain, you know, in the cave, and you're not doing nothing. You're not allowed to do nothing. You know, we had that idea in our mind due to the writings we read back then. But you got a body to use, because I lived in a cave, but what did I do in that cave? Yes, I was in the cave. Yes, I was living up in a mountain, but I was what? Moving. You understand? It ain't about sitting in the corner. I was living a whole nother life with a pattern that was going on. But I had that experience. But if you don't know all of that's going on with that lifestyle, you're just imagining something that, and then that's why you can't stay in that frequency or vibration. You are going to get a new lifestyle. You just have to notice what it is. It's a whole nother ballgame, whole nother thought process. Oh, man.
You totally just reminded me of something about creating new patterns. It's really easy to create new patterns when you're in a new environment. So the last couple of videos we did, I happened to be filming from Crescent City. And when I was there, I had put myself on like a little working retreat. So I had a totally different pattern than I had at home, because I would get up, I knew this particular trail I wanted to take. So I would make sure I'd go out in nature every day for a couple hours, and I would sit on this boulder and meditate. I knew I was going to go out at the sunset and soak up the solar energy. I knew I was going to certain times, right? So I had a whole routine set for myself, right? When you're at home, you might have the habit of sitting down and watching TV at a certain time, or sitting down and doing something like that.
Right.
So you have this energy. It's kind of like energy patterned in the house you created. The other thing is the home I was staying in was just built, which means no one had ever lived in it. That also means there was no cooking energy in the kitchen. There was no food or eating energy, and I could feel that. So when it comes to starting new habits, if you're going to go stay in a new place or go move into a new house, tell yourself, I'm not going to turn on my TV when I'm in this house, because I know that will create a habit for me.
Yeah.
Whatever it is.
This is perfect you're bringing it up. I had a retreat in Israel, and we had a whole 3 days where we talked about that. It's one thing when we was at the retreat and everybody's together doing the routine, but everybody was about to go home to the energy they created. The energy is still there if they're patterned. Where they ate at, it's going to trigger the body. The family members, they're going to trigger you. Where you used to sit at and what do you used to do. That energy pattern is there, and it start activating things. they had a thing where, say if a person was an alcoholic and they went to Alcoholics Anonymous, and sometimes a person will backslide, but the thing that makes them backslide could be they could see an old party glass that reminded them of that scenario, because your body's full of memory again. You can see something that looks like a cigarette or see a cigarette would trigger you. So what you think's taking place with food and these memories again, these habits and these patterns. So that's why there's a thing called spring cleaning, you know, where you clean your house during the springtime and the energy feels so different because you clean the rooms, everything's different. In a way, when you're changing your lifestyle, you might even have to go through your home, go through your space, and change things around to start out new.
Absolutely. I was just going to suggest that. Yeah, if you want to create new patterns and habits in your home, clean it, get rid of the stuff that is a trigger for you, or just arrange it, change the lighting, just anything. And then tell yourself this space is no longer going to be used for this anymore. It's going to be used for that, something more healthy, something more relaxing, you know, whatever it is you want to create in your life. And,
right.
You know,
and this, oh,
no,
sorry about that. Go ahead.
You can go.
Now this is where you get really strong. Now listen at this. I do a lot of traveling. So of course, change always takes place. You're going to be going through pattern to pattern, meeting a lot of people. You got to build a habit within you. This is where you start becoming more of a stronger breatharian. When you go to different places, you're bringing your pattern with you. See, there's a thing called you can take a boy out of the country, but you can't take the country out of the boy. In other words, no matter if you do traveling or not, you're taking you with you. This is deep now. So sometimes a person can move to another place that got this good pattern going on. You know, your job, you know, you're familiar with everything. The place you used to meditate, now you're moving to this other place where all of that got disrupted. So a person don't know where to begin. This is a whole nother level too. But you got to look at your new situation and learn how to build that new pattern, where I'm going to walk to now, where I'm going to meditate at now. And you got to do it quickly to establish that new route. Even the people around you, they at least have to get an idea, because everybody's checking you out. You're the new person. They're looking at your pattern and what you're about. It's going to speak words, volumes about what you're into, instead of just breaking in saying, well, I'm in this new situation, let me just go with the flow and fit in. No, you do got the power to bring your new pattern with you so you can keep developing yourself.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
And your new pattern will create more abundance in your life. I guarantee it. When you start on this path, your life will be so much easier and so much more full.
Oh, absolutely. And like we were saying earlier about starting this off, because, oh man, this is so deep. Even your thoughts are electrical. So you got this electricity going through your body. You got your conscious mind, of course, the things that you know, but there's a lot of things that's taking place that you're not even thinking about or aware of that's being taken care of for you. It's still you. So therefore, there's things that will come my way that I wasn't even thinking about, but I needed it. This is what we call your higher self, because you got an energy that expands beyond your physical body. The sciences is talking about it now, the exploration of consciousness. This is what all your speakers are talking about, dealing with the secret, dealing with, what's that? How to be rich and wealthy and all that, but they're all talking about a mindset that first must take place, because you're creating from the inside out. But things will start being drawn to you, new ideas, when you start holding that new frequency on. Now, somebody just was talking to me today, how do you think? When I was walking today, and this is just where I'm at, the world is a good place to live. I'm a positive person, no matter what the circumstance or what people say. And the day I'm meeting people, they're waving, I'm doing here, everything's beautiful. But that takes work to get rid of that negative voice inside of you for the other one to become the predominant. It takes meditation, it takes work, until that becomes a new program coming off your body. Oh man, this is good.
Right. The higher consciousness, because you have to be really mindful and conscious of your thoughts. So conscious here all the way around, conscious of your body, right? When you
Mm-hmm.
news, and conscious of your thoughts when you start thinking something that may not be positive. You come
Right.
that level of consciousness and acute awareness of yourself with eating less and energy running. That's key for me. That's what I really notice when I start really running my energy. And if you don't know
Mm-hmm.
what that means, you'll learn during our retreat. That's when you
Right.
really start building magnetism, and you put those two things together, fasting and energy running, and magic happens.
Oh man.
Really, magic happens. Your whole life will change, your whole body will change. You will become a light body with a light mind, and this is the direction that we're heading in. So exciting.
Oh, absolutely. And see, this what makes it good, because when we talk about the mind, the emotions, and the body, okay, two of them are invisible and one of them is visible. We can see it. Everybody can relate to the physical body. So every change you make on your physical body affects your emotions and your mental thinking. You can see it. There's some tangible you can work with. However, you got some people who are exceptional. They're better at, they do have a good thought process, even though they can't work with the physical body. And that's just as powerful, because every change you make on your thought process changes the physical body. So whatever route you're coming in, you're bringing them both together so you can bring some type of mastery. They came together, and you can do it. You'll make a change from this end, or you can come from this end. But like we said, everybody do have a physical body you can relate to. You can see it. So that's what we're starting at, on these levels, to open up your consciousness.
Yes. And let's talk about the physical body just for a quick second. One of our viewers dropped a question under our last video wanting to know, what are the physical changes when you begin to go food free and you make the switch and move into breatharianism? So, Elitom, what was...
First of all, when I started out, you'll feel lighter. And when I mean light, I'm talking about weight. Yes, you are going to lose unwanted weight that you don't need no more. Love handles, the other stuff that was all in the gut region. There's a lot of energy in that region. So that's going to be one physical change. Another physical change, now that energy, it takes a lot of energy to digest food. So now, since that energy is not needed to digest food, it has a chance to go to other places in the body. So another physical change is, keep in mind that your skin is an organ. It's the largest organ on the body. So the whole energy field of the physical body is going to raise. So your skin will actually clear up without a shadow of a doubt. Whenever you eat something, it shows up on your skin. You drink coffee and you stop drinking coffee, there's going to be a change on the skin. If you're smoking and you stop smoking, there's going to be a change in the skin. If you're eating meat, it will change your skin when you stop eating it. This is just the way it is. You can stop eating salt or sugar for a week and do a before and after picture on your face, and you'll see a change. So being on this journey, the physical changes you're going to make without a shadow of a doubt. Your body is adaptive, so it got all of that dense stress off of it. You're just going to look totally different without a shadow of a doubt on every level.
Exactly. And some of the things I've noticed is wound healing happens very fast. So if I get a bruise or a cut, it just heals
Right.
like that. Yeah, like you said, the skin clears up, your eyes clear up, you have more energy, a lot more energy.
And just what you said, a bruise clear up will heal really quick, because your body does heal itself. We know this, but we hear it. When you get all that stress off of it and that energy it ain't used for digestive food anymore. I was riding a bike one day and I did hurt my leg, but it didn't stay long. The body healed itself so fast that it popped in my mind. If I was real dense, or if I was eating food and stuff like that, that probably would have ended my bike trip. But I go through so many things where I could still be rugged, still get out there, and the body just healing itself. I am so glad to be in this new physical body that I created by being on the breatharian path, without a shadow of a doubt. As I sit here, this is me. There's no aches and pains in my body right now. This is powerful.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. Other things I've experienced is used to have an inflammation in my knee because I've had a couple of knee surgeries long ago, and I always had a little bit of inflammation where I couldn't do a complete like squat, where I couldn't sit on the heels of my feet, and now I
Mhm.
can. So all the
Right,
inflammation in my body is gone, all of it. You know, food causes
right.
systemic inflammation, so that's a big one. So there's no puffiness, there's no inflammation anywhere in the body, which makes a big difference. And now I can do a lot more with my knee that I couldn't do.
Oh man, this is all awesome. And the thing about it is, like we said, these changes to take place, and you really start appreciating and being grateful. This is what keeps you on the path. It ain't about no in and out. When you start feeling this way, and then if you say, for instance, like in the beginning, you'll be playing around. You'll start feeling good, feeling the energy of what we're talking about, and then you'll probably get dense again. But when you get dense, you know what did it. You ate too much. That's what did it. So you start bouncing in and out, and then you start enjoying this other vibration. When you start staying on that vibration more and start appreciating being grateful, man, I'm so glad I took this path, and start paying off. There's no way in the world you're going to go back to that other vibration.
Yeah, exactly. I'm so glad you brought that up. I do want to mention one other quick thing. I realized that my teeth have gotten tighter too. The other
Mm-hmm.
day I was flossing, I could hardly get the floss in between my teeth. So my teeth have kind of like firmed up, and it's kind of interesting. So there's little shifts that kind of start happening in the body. But what you were saying about the feeling so good, you know, I used to love dark chocolate.
Mm-hmm.
Hot cacao, one of my favorite things, right? But when you're eating something that you really love, you feel it for the time it's in your mouth, and then it's gone. So you might love it for maybe, what, 30 seconds or however long you have it in your mouth. And
Right.
what you're left with afterwards is either the high from eating the chocolate or the low from eating something else. You know, whatever it is, it's going to alter you. But last night, during the full moon, I was
Oh man.
so overwhelmed by that moon. That's one thing too. When you let go of the food and you are more on this path, things like the moon, I mean, I ate at the moon like I've never before. I mean, I could just
Right.
feel it. And every time it just gets more and more strong. Every sunset, more and more strong. And I thought I was going to just look at it for a few minutes and then go to bed. I ended up pulling up a chair and just staring at it for, I think, 2 hours.
Right.
It just moved into the trees and I couldn't see it anymore. If I could see it all night, I would have stayed up all night. And I remember thinking, nothing tastes as good as the moon feels. I mean, it
Right.
just brought so much prana and bliss energy in my body. It just filled me for hours.
Right.
The 30 seconds it's in your mouth, but for hours. And then when I went in the house, I turned on the music and I danced and I danced and I danced.
Right.
I had all this energy, and it's 1 o'clock in the morning and I'm dancing.
Right.
And that's the difference between eating and the pranic lifestyle right there.
Exactly. And see, now I'm glad you bring this up. The moon is very far away from us. When you're on this journey, you feel the forces now. Now that moon was out on everybody, but a lot of people can't feel it. They're too dense. They can't feel it. So you start feeling these forces now, not just the moon, you know. Now, if you're that connected with the universe, that's why they talk about the microcosm, you is with the macrocosm. Everybody's connected with the bigger picture, but they just can't feel it because they're too dense. When you can start making that connection and feeling it, if you are that connected with it, you don't have nothing to worry about. You can trust the universe. You are the universe. You feel it. It's a feeling state. You don't want to cut yourself off from that. Now, of course, even though a person is dense, now this is the thing that's going through your mind, you're still connected to it, but you kind of start losing your memory. You're losing a feeling. You don't feel that way. But when you're connected and feel that way all the time, you want to stay there.
Exactly. And you wonder why wild animals know when to migrate or know when to run from an earthquake and things like that, because they are so keyed in. They're eating their natural
Mm-hmm.
raw diet, whatever that is. They're not eating all the time, right? Unless they're like these
Right.
here. but they're more in the flow of the natural influences of the world. And that's the way we're actually designed as human beings, to be more natural.
Absolutely.
Feed in with the electromagnetic fields and ley lines of the planet and all the elements. This is what we're made of.
This is what we're made of.
Earth and all the elements.
And when your body gets sensitive with these feelings, it also reads people better. I was walking here in India, and usually the one street I always go down, it just didn't feel right. And I went the other way. And sure enough, there was trouble on that street. You can feel that. And I remember a guy was doing a class where it was hideous, where some man came to some apartment building and he ended up going through 6 apartments, you know, killing different women. But the teacher said, once he approached the first woman, the rest of the women should have been able to feel that something was wrong in the apartment building. You know, that's how disconnected it was. And when I thought about that, he is actually right. See, when you start lightening up and becoming more one with your environment, one with the cosmos, your body is more sensitive, the energy is flowing, you can tell different things, not only dealing with people, dealing with animals, you can feel it. So to tell you not to go that way or go this way or you can trust this, it's all in you. This is awesome. This is the greatest science and technology you have access to. This is Google. You know, the Google Maps and all this. It's right here.
That's true. It's absolutely true. And I'm so happy that you brought all this up, because the energy work on this path is key. And this is why we're going to really focus on this in our retreat. And this is why I teach this in my Reiki classes, because the more you work with energy, the more sensitive you are to energy. The less you eat while you're working with energy, the more sensitive you are to energy. It all goes hand in hand. So the other day I posted a picture when I went into the forest. I'm by myself, I'm hiking in the forest, and I shared it on Facebook, and someone responded and they said, "Aren't you afraid to walk in the forest by yourself?" And I thought, you know, that's a really good point, because I know a lot of women are, and rightfully so. And I thought, no, because I don't go anywhere that makes me feel afraid. And my response was I felt completely safe. And just to give you an example of how tuned in I was, there was another day where I was going to go to my favorite stone that I love, which is deep in the forest. It's a good walk, and I'm all by myself. But I thought, no, somebody's there. So instead I took another path, and I walked up the mountain. I got a good workout in, and then all of a sudden I thought, oh, it's time for me to go to my stone now. So I turned around and I hiked over to where my boulder is, and sure enough, there was a man standing there at the boulder. And I said, oh, would you mind if I sit here? And he said, oh, you know what? I've been here for 2 hours writing poetry, and I was just about to leave, so now you can. And he left.
You already felt it.
And if I didn't hike up that hill, and if I walked straight there, I would have interrupted him. It wasn't the right time.
Right. And you're trusting yourself again. It's guiding you all the way. That inward voice is telling you to go here, go there. You start trusting yourself. And this is incredible. You just want to stay in this state. This is your guiding force. So that's why we want to take care of it and get the energy flowing. And this is what living on prana is all about at its ultimate levels. Exactly. This is it.
And the faster you can get off the solid food, I think the better. So if you can doing smoothies or just juicing, you know, if you can just live off juices and be ready to transfer more and do more dry fast or water fasting, whatever it is that is for you. But the less physical solid food with fiber and all that, and the more clear liquids you can get into your diet and more moving in that direction, we'll teach you how to do that in our retreat, and we'll motivate and encourage you, the better. You'll have all these benefits, and you'll just have an abundant, connected, free-flowing.
All these benefits, absolutely. And that's why, too, like we was talking about earlier about preventable diseases, the high blood pressure, strokes, liver ailments, cancers. See, the state, once, like, I'm talking from this point of view, coming in, looking in. When you get to this state, you want to stay in this state, because sometimes people get these different diseases and it seems like it creeped up on them. All of a sudden it's there. There's no way in the world it could creep up on you when you're in this feeling state. You know what I mean? Because sometimes you'll ask yourself, they should have seen that stroke coming. Why didn't they feel it? Because they've been numb for years. They don't feel nothing. Your whole body's numb. You can't feel your leg. You can't feel what's going on with the liver. You can't feel what's going on with the hip. You just feel pains every once in a while, but there's a lot going on in there. And when that, when you catch those different diseases like that, that's preventable, all of a sudden you got diagnosed with it, but why didn't you feel it before? Just like you come sensitive with the external forces, you should be able to feel that stuff going on inside of your body. That's why you do want to make this transition, so you could be a better caretaker of your center. This is the center of how you look at the universe.
Learn how to operate the spaceship that you're in. You're in this, like you said, this amazing technology is your body. You have no idea.
Yeah.
Our potential is huge of what we can do with our brains and the body and with our energy fields. We can create and bring to us anything. Absolutely.
Anything.
Yeah.
And then we're talking about these downloads, like Shana, I like what she said. I got a new download. Because when you're open to these, opening up your body like that, you always get these amazing thoughts and ideas, So even when we just talk about the manifestation of different things that you need in your life, it ain't so much about always something that's coming to you, whether it's money or the materialism. You would get an idea on how to make things happen. You are an open channel, an open conduit of thoughts and ideas. This is awesome.
Yes. And ideas are things you want to teach to others. That's what Elitom and I are always doing. Like, oh, we got to talk about this. We got to talk about this. Every day it's a new download. You'll become
a new one. And it don't quit. See, out in the world where you're dense, you know how you get a good idea, you want to hang on to it and don't give it to nobody else, or that might be your only ace in the hole. When you're dealing with this and you're flowing with the energy, you give away, and there's more even coming. It don't end. You're like this main computer where all of this information just constantly throwing fluid. It don't end. But when a person is living on a lower level of a vibration and they're scarce, when they do got little things, they try to hold on to it. And I can't, because scared that they might not get no more, or this is all I need to do. But when you're on this level, it's always flowing. There's more. You gave that up? Yep, there's more. Here's more.
And food, the excess food makes you feel like that, like these animals here, right? You're eating a lot of food and now you're like, where's my next meal going to be? Or where's this, where's that? And then you're in like this
oh man,
where's my next paycheck going to come from? Where am I going to get my money? It's all this but when you start letting the food go, you start running the energy, everything opens. And like you said, you get so many downloads. There's a list here of things that I've written that we were going to talk about today, and we got to about half of them. We didn't even get to talking about the glows.
Right.
I think we'll have to do another video because it's almost been a full hour now that we've been talking, but just so many ideas. We'll have to talk again maybe tomorrow.
Oh, absolutely. There's so much to talk about.
It's continuous, so much, and it's amazing, and it's mind-blowing, and it's expanding, and what people need to realize,
absolutely.
What I want you to realize out there for those who are watching, you are more liberated than you realize. You are so free, and you may not feel it in life, but you are free. You really are. And just letting go makes all
absolutely.
the world.
And keep in mind, we're always doing these retreats. So try to make this one. And if not, we'll be doing a lot more in the future to have the experience, meet new people. Because we also got WhatsApp groups for people that was in our last retreat. They still keeping in touch with each other, still keeping motivated. It's good to talk with people who understands this knowledge. You can ask questions, really get stuff off your chest. You have an accountability where you'll show up the next day. You can talk about what's been happening. You learn some amazing meditations like Shana was talking about on running the energy. So there's so much you'll learn. It would most definitely change your life and get into a new direction. Always look for the opportunity to better yourself. That's the best investment you can make is in yourself.
Exactly, and it's a very reasonable price. So let's just talk about the logistics of it briefly. It's 4 days. You meet with Elitom and I live every day for about 2 hours. And during the 2 hours, we have discussions, Q&A. You can ask us anything that you want. We will coach you along your personal journey. You will get to talk with the others in the group, of course, and then we will guide you through Qigong, meditation, energy running, breath work, all of that. It's going to be really exciting. You're going to be fasting while all of this is happening, so we're going to give you a lot of support with that and just help you along the whole journey. And then when you're not with us on Zoom, you have a pranic checklist that you follow in your own time. So you have energy work and mindset reprogramming and things like that, and videos to watch on your own time to keep your motivation high and keep yourself going. And you can connect with one another in the class throughout the day. And it's amazing. It's life-changing. People love it so much that they always want to take more than one retreat with us. And every retreat is just a little bit different. So continue on with the journey. And we're so excited to be doing this. And please join us if it inspires you. It's the 12th through the 15th, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday.
Oh, man. It's going to be so good. I love each and every one.
I know.
Oh, man.
It's really fun. And I will link below this video to my website, where I have a whole page that talks about the details and how to register, or if you have any questions, you can just write to me directly.
Absolutely. So we're looking forward to seeing you, and we love you.
Yes, we love you. Thank you so much for being with us today. And Elitom, thank you. It was a really, really good talk. Yay!
Voila!
Okay, thank you, everyone. We love you.
Mwah.
Bye, everybody.